I thought I'd be the last person you'd ever let him hurt. If it had been you that he'd beat to a bloody pulp, if he had taken you from this world, I would have done nothing but search the planet for this pathetic pile of evil death-worshipping garbage and send him off to hell!
Something changing your mind. Something changing your mind. Lovely, you want me to be. Tell me, what do you see?
Under the Red Hood is one of the best Batman films ever. It's also very uneven rewatching it, because the majority of it are basically chases on rooftops and people looking very angrily confused all the time. But the ending is so emotionally powerful that it retroactively raises the rest of the film. At its core, it's a story about wanting to be recognized, the power in wanting someone to see what you see. A new Red Hood begins to control crime across Gotham. Batman investigates Joker, and the logic loophole Joker argues is that he wouldn't stir up so much trouble without Batman knowing it's him. Joker killed Jason Todd because Ra's al Ghul needed Batman to not see what he's doing, and he secretly tries to resurrect him. Black Mask is mad that the Red Hood has ruined his attempts to ascend into international recognition. Red Hood's plan is to draw Joker out by getting Black Mask's attention through appearing as his rival.
Sure, I had lots of plans, but the end game was getting Black Mask so desperate that he'd cut a deal.
And finally, the entire climax is built around Jason wanting Batman to understand his perspective and bend. Here's a simple question. Was Batman actually traumatized by Jason's death? I know it sounds like a ridiculous question, because the easy answer is yeah. His son died in his arms. He has his costume on display as a grim reminder to externalize how he re-experiences his son's death every day. But at the same time, Jason's death didn't really affect his mission at all. He still goes out with Dick to fight crime, and when he learns of Jason's resurrection after being duped, Bruce's response to Alfred telling him not to blame himself is revealing that his regret didn't come from him being blinded by his grief and being duped, but the fact that he wrongfully adopted someone. Batman wanted to intervene in Jason's life so his giftedness wouldn't be wasted as a common street thug. But Jason is that thug now, and with his training on top.
I know that you view his death as your greatest failure, but
His life and his death are my greatest failure. Do you remember how he was when I found him?
Of course. Fearless, arrogant, brash, and guilty.
Yes. Different than Dick in so many ways, but still so full of potential and power. But I knew, even from the beginning, he was dangerous.
He's a drug-dealing pimp. I didn't think I had to prop up some pillows before I took him
If I
out.
hadn't made him into Robin, he would have grown to do wrong.
But does it make it easier for you to think that my little dip in his fountain of youth turned me rabid? Or is this just the real me?
The narrative Bruce lives by, his mission, hasn't really changed. Instead, he's assimilated his trauma by saying that he's only got in the way of his own mission, that he's created another criminal to deal with. This perspective is both resilient, but also the film kind of paints as being quite arrogant. Throughout Under the Red Hood, there are no moments where Batman's no-kill rule gives good karma and solves something. He's never killed Black Mask, so Black Mask's men kills loads of businesses that were under Red Hood's protection. His men bribes and kills this poor Arkham guard, and in the end, Black Mask gets away with absolutely everything.
The two guards charged with aiding and abetting the Joker's escape were found murdered this afternoon in the Gotham Courthouse jail. While the alleged crime lord known as Black Mask was released on $1 million bail.
There's no moment where someone is like, "Man, you gave me a second chance, Batman, and I'm gonna help you," or Black Mask dies due to his own hubris. Instead, Batman is barely even a relief in the cycle of death in Gotham. A cycle which we see through Jason's life, one that lasted for a decade.
You're becoming a crime lord.
Yes, you can't stop crime. That's what you never understood. I'm controlling it. You want to rule them by fear, but what do you do with the ones who aren't afraid? I'm doing what you won't. I'm taking them out.
Red Hood represents Batman's failures in two ways.
What bothers you more? That your greatest failure has returned from the grave? Or that I've become a better Batman than you?
Hilariously enough, Jason also says this in the same scene where he uses his own helmet as a grenade, which means he's been wearing a giant bomb this whole time. What a genius. This is something Batman struggles to understand. Throughout the film, he's entirely operating under the assumption that Jason is mad because he failed to save him, but that's not true.
Bruce, I forgive you for not saving me. But why? Why on God's earth?
Jason is mad about Bruce's unaffected direction in life. He's mad about how he's dealt with the Joker. Joker's life also exists on two levels. On one hand, his survival is evidence of Batman's ineffectiveness.
I don't know what clouds your judgment worse. Your guilt or your antiquated sense of morality.
And on the other hand, if Bruce truly loved Jason, truly saw him as a son, he would have put his love before his principles and killed the Joker. Because being a father would mean more than being Batman.
I'm not talking about killing Penguin or Scarecrow or Dent. I'm talking about him. Just him. And doing it because he took me away from you.
But Bruce's response is simple. It would lead him onto the same path as the Joker and every other criminal.
But if I do that, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back.
Something which Jason's very resurrection and actions very explicitly exhibits. Him killing those that deserve it didn't put him above the cycle of violence. He's now a part of it. He's even named himself after a criminal tradition. Both Jason and Batman's missions are kind of futile in this film, but Bruce can look at himself in the mirror. In this moment, there's two stories at play here, two interpretations one wants the other to see. The sanctity of the mission and the failure of that mission. And if either one of them compromises, it would invalidate their own self-narratives. The very narratives they use to survive and make sense of their shared trauma. The narratives that offers them a continuity which allows them to imagine a future. A future where fighting crime in their own ways still makes sense and still feels valid. Where they feel valid.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Jason throws a gun to Bruce.
If you won't kill this psychotic piece of filth, I will! If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to kill me!
He shoots his own son, or he shoots the man who killed him. This ultimatum represents everything that's gone through Jason's head all this time. Either his father killed him, or it was his mission that killed him. And Jason picked the latter because he needed his father to love him still. But Batman walks away, and instead does a whole thing where he jams Jason's gun. And then Jason's bomb goes off, which should have totally killed the Joker, but it didn't for some reason. Alfred asks if he should remove Jason's memorial, but Batman says no. It doesn't change anything. Jason is still his greatest mistake, but the mistake wasn't letting him die. It was letting him in at all. However, the film contrasts this by showing Jason's first day as Robin, where Bruce smiled, and Jason declares,
"This is the best day of my life."
And these memories, they became the best days of Bruce's. Memory and imagination are deeply connected. They need each other to make sense. Imagination needs memories to compose a story for us to live with a consistent understanding of the world, but then trauma disrupts both. It's a hole in the self's ability to be logical, to believe in what was once a trustworthy story of the world. Under the Red Hood is a story about this confusion and loss. It's about two broken people unwilling to compromise, unwilling to see through the other's eyes in order to preserve whatever consistent understanding survived or what was created from the trauma they've experienced. And this final note, this moment of sheer love, there's no more room for it for the story Jason and Bruce has written for themselves now.
A way to get myself
So yeah, that was the Under the Red Hood Jason Todd video. I tried to sound really like sad and emotional during the voiceover, and I'm pretty sure I ended up sounding more monotone and boring than usual, but I don't know, I hope it was mildly entertaining. I made this specifically to avoid making the Dick Grayson and Mercy Graves video, because the moment I announce anything, I doom them from even existing at all. But anyways, special thanks to everyone on Patreon, and I will see you guys soon.